Picture this. It's a Friday night service. The dining room is absolutely packed. Tickets are just flying out of the printer, pans are sizzling, the energy in the room is completely electric. Look, to the untrained eye, it looks like massive, undeniable success. But behind the scenes, there's a totally different story unfolding, because despite being packed to the brim, the restaurant is somehow bleeding money. Welcome to our latest explainer, where we're doing a deep dive into how you actually stop that bleed. Today, we're going to explore a definitive blueprint for taking a food and beverage operation from absolute overwhelming chaos to predictable engineered control.
37%. That is a massive number, and it represents the potential cost leakage in an unmanaged restaurant. You might be wondering, why does this happen? Well, it's because guessing is quite literally the most expensive habit in the entire F&B industry. Think about it. A pinch of saffron here, an extra handful of fries there, a bartender just eyeballing a pour of expensive liquor. So many owners guess at portions, they guess at pricing, they guess at their purchasing quantities, and then at the end of the day, they just hope for profit. But hope is definitely not a strategy. When you guess, your margins just evaporate right into thin air.
So to stop guessing, we clearly need a system. And the core philosophy of industry expert Nasser Darwish provides exactly that. This isn't just theory either. Darwish draws from over 40 years of hands-on, in-the-trenches operational experience across the GCC. So his framework is a truly battle-tested blueprint. It's absolutely fascinating to see his approach. He makes the case that building a profitable, scalable restaurant has nothing to do with luck. It's entirely about building an airtight system, where discipline is mandatory and inconsistency is treated as the ultimate enemy.
To really embrace this blueprint, we have to undergo a massive paradigm shift. We're talking about moving away from traditional accounting and shifting toward what Darwish calls operational engineering. Just think about traditional accounting for a second. It's purely reactive. It tells you what you lost at the end of the month, right? By then, it's way too late to fix it. You're just chasing issues, trying to figure out why food costs spiked, and probably apologizing to guests. Operational engineering, on the other hand, is proactive. It's a daily rigorous discipline of forecasting, prep lists, and line checks. It literally prevents the problems before they ever even get a chance to show up on a spreadsheet.
Okay, so if we're going to actually engineer our costs, where do we even start? Well, we have to look at where the money is actively leaking. There are three primary cost killers in any restaurant: food cost, labor cost, and waste. If your operation is struggling with profitability, I can guarantee you, for sure, your money is bleeding out through one or maybe all of these three areas. To get that control back, we have to stop looking at these as inevitable, unpredictable expenses. We have to start treating them as variables that we can actively engineer and diagnose.
Darwish actually grounds his entire philosophy in one incredibly powerful operational truth. He says, food cost is not a mystery. Food cost is math, and math tells the truth. This is so crucial. Real financial intelligence relies on daily calculation, not end-of-month emotions. The data will tell you exactly what's failing and exactly what's working. When you treat your food cost as a strict mathematical equation, you strip away all the excuses, and you're just left with pure, actionable reality.
And controlling that math? That starts way before a chef ever picks up a knife. It starts with your procurement system. We really need to frame procurement not just as, buying food, but as a strictly closed-loop system of defect detection. It moves from ordering based on calculated forecasts to meticulous receiving, proper storage, and finally, exact usage. It's a tight, unbroken circle. Because if there is a gap anywhere in that loop, your money is just going to fall right through it.
Now, the absolutely most critical link in that loop is what we call the receiving truth point. This is where procurement becomes reality, and you absolutely cannot rush this step. It requires highly trained staff armed with checklists, scales, and thermometers. They have to verify the exact weight, the exact temperature, and the quality of every single item coming through the door. Why? Because of one unbreakable operational rule. If you don't check it, you accept it. The second that delivery driver leaves, any missing weight or spoiled product becomes your financial loss, and that instantly inflates your food cost.
Once that product is safely inside the building, the battleground shifts over to production and standard recipes. And operational excellence here requires absolute, unwavering discipline. We're talking prep lists, line checks, and strict station setups to protect your margins. Cooking might be an art, sure, but production is an industrial science. If your kitchen staff is just eyeballing ingredients or tweaking recipes based on how busy they feel in the moment, they are actively dismantling your profitability. Consistency is literally the only way to scale.
So, to enforce that kind of consistency, we have to rely on the mathematical backbone of the kitchen. And the real focal point here is the formula governing your cost proportion.
When you divide your ingredient cost by the yield percentage and then multiply that by your exact portion size, you create a really rigid, reliable financial control system. Think about it. A single extra ounce of expensive cheese on every burger might not seem like a big deal, but multiply that by thousands of orders and it completely destroys an entire month's margin. Strict yield and portion control are the absolute guardians of your profits.
Which brings us to our third tool, and honestly, perhaps the most misunderstood one of all: waste. Darwish states something truly profound about this. He says, waste is not a number, it is a behavior. Really let that sink in for a second. Waste isn't just a kitchen problem, and it's certainly not just a standard byproduct of doing business. It is a direct symptom of operational behavior. It tells a story. It highlights over-ordering, poor staff training, sloppy portioning, or even just a chaotic service flow. And because waste is a behavior, we have to meticulously document it if we ever want to change it. This is exactly where the proper waste log comes into play. Now I know, a lot of operators view this as just annoying paperwork. But world-class operators, they treat the waste log as a vital daily diagnostic tool. You don't just scribble down burnt steak. No, you document the date, the time, the specific item, the exact reason, the team member involved, and most importantly, the corrective action taken. Every single piece of waste is a blazing signal pointing directly to a system failure that needs your attention.
And this leads us to an ultimate operational truth. Waste control is the bridge between your theoretical recipe costing and your actual food cost performance. You could have the most perfectly costed menu in the world, engineered down to the exact penny. But if your waste control is weak, your theoretical profits will literally end up in the trash can. Tracking your waste turns invisible, sneaky financial leakage into highly actionable data.
The beautiful thing is, when you finally stop guessing, when you actually implement strict procurement, mathematical recipe control, and behavioral waste tracking, all that chaos resolves into absolute clarity. You graduate to utilizing a true owner's dashboard. Instead of looking at a chaotic kitchen and just crossing your fingers, you're looking at positive trends, predictable variances, and a really healthy engineered profit margin. You transition from reacting to daily fires to engineering sustainable long-term success.
And the results? They completely speak for themselves. An engineered operation doesn't just stabilize, it thrives. By implementing these very specific systems, your P&L statement stops being this source of dread at the end of the month. Instead, it becomes a story of your operational discipline. Sales grow, margins increase, productivity rises, and it all happens because the team finally has a structured, unwavering system to follow every single day.
Ultimately, getting to this point means making a definitive choice about how you view your business. It means stripping away all that romance of the chaotic, screaming kitchen and replacing it with the cold, hard precision of an engineer. Because the difference between those two approaches is exactly the difference between a business that eventually breaks you and a sustainable legacy that outlasts you.
When you master operational engineering, you become the true architect of your restaurant's future, drawing on decades of proven wisdom from experts like Nasser Darwish. So, as we wrap up this explainer and you look at your own operation today, I want to leave you with a question to honestly ask yourself. Are you running your restaurant by guessing? Or are you building a legacy by engineering?